Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is the Times Square Beat. One of the longest running shows, if not the longest running show, is The Phantom of the Opera. And what makes it so special and so unique right now is the new Phantom. We're talking James Barbour, and we're here to talk with him. All right, what a tour de force performance.
Oh, thanks.
Is it really hard to sing all of that? How many nights a week?
Well, it's 8 nights a week, and it is the longest running show we've been running, almost going into our 28th year on Broadway. It's interesting because when I took over the role, I took over for Norm Lewis, and Norm took over for Hugh Pinero, and I've talked to each one of them. They're all friends, and they're like, it's exhausting. And I'm like, come on, really? And we've all done other roles. It is exhausting, and I kept questioning why it's so tiring to do. And it's such, normally when you do a show, you have the ability to build up within the show. You're building and building and building the story. This guy comes out 100% full force, pedal to the metal, bam. And the first major song you sing is Music of the Night. So it's tiring, but it's so invigorating, to be able to play this iconic character. But it's taxing physically, but I love that.
One of my favorite moments in the show isn't when you sing the big notes, but it's when you sing the very pianissimo notes, and they're glorious. How do you sustain that after singing all these large notes and then draw back to such a beautiful small?
Oh, thanks. I talk about, people ask all the time about voice and about, how do you sustain 8 shows a week? How do you keep doing it? It really is like a muscle. I talk about Broadway performers, and if you look, if you go to a dance show like American in Paris, or even our show, where we're doing it 8 shows a week continually, we're like professional athletes. Except when you think about football, they're doing 1 game a week for a limited period of time. We're doing 8 games a week. So you have to be...
And 2 nights, 2 shows.
2 shows twice a week. So we do Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. 2 Thursday, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday, which is not a typical Broadway show. So we have Sunday off, and then we have to be back Monday. I'm usually in the theater by 6 o'clock. So it's not a lot of time off. But it's really a muscle. It's building that muscle, sustaining that muscle, and then finding the nuances. I've been in the show almost 6 months, and I'm finding the nuances where I can go, oh, okay, now I understand how I can sing that and make that pianissimo, sustain or move forward. It's all about breath and muscle. It's what it is.
Now, this show is very different. I mean, I saw this back in 1988 when it opened, and then I saw it, I guess about 2 years later because they wanted me up for the show. And I watched it going, oh my God, thank God I never got this. Because the physicality of it is so intense. Yeah. Is there more than one Phantom, Christine? Because if not, oh my gosh, how do you do this?
Yeah, there's only one Phantom. I mean, there are understudies, but I do all 8 shows a week. The Christine split. There's one Christine that does 6. Her name's Julia Udine. And then our new Christine, who just did her second performance today, is Rachel Zadkoff. So she does 2 a week, and Julia does 6 a week. It's a heavy singing role for them. They're rarely off the stage. But there's only one Phantom.
It's not just heavy in singing, it's heavy in athletics.
It's athletic and it's physical. And, we were talking about it before that I'm one of the tallest guys to play the role, and I have to fit into very specific spaces. He's hidden, he comes out. And the angel that descends at the end of the first act, I'm sitting in a very cooped up space, and then I'm standing up, and there's no harness in that angel.
I could never do that, ever. Yeah. I seriously, I would look and see that height, and I would be like,
just don't look down, don't look down.
No, but talk about, you were telling me earlier about what it's like to be up on that angel. Can you tell me all
Yeah,
that?
Sure. So the angel, for those of you guys who have seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who haven't, at the end of the first act, there's a set piece which is part of the proscenium of the theater, and it's the very, very top of the theater.
And it goes up and down.
It goes up and down. Now, I'm hidden in that, and it descends down on cables. So I'm about 26 feet descends down to 26 feet from the stage, and I'm hidden back there underneath this angel.
And for a while.
Yeah, for an entire song and a half. And it's a small space, and I have to be worried if I'm visible to the audience. But when the Phantom appears, he has to stand up in this angel, which is dangling. There's no harness. There's no back to the angel. So when I first did it, the choreography is to throw your arms out to the audience at the very end. And It's not. It sways and it moves. And I threw my arms out and I was like, whoa! In my rehearsal, I was like, whoa, okay, I'm holding on. And it's like the whole thing's moving and you're trying to sustain the note. You get used to it, but it's still, you're high up there.
Now, when you have the fire and you're setting the fire, is that you doing the fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, James said it wasn't you.
Yeah, there's a staff, the staff that shoots the fire. Yeah, there's a staff and it shoots fire. There are 6 or 8 fire shots that are coming there, and I'm in control of that. But our crew is amazing, and they've been doing it for so long. They know exactly what to do. It's very safe.
Doesn't look at Mary Street.
Well, that's a cool thing. But then that big wall of fire comes up. You can actually feel it when I was watching the show. You can actually feel the heat.
Oh, I felt it.
Which is great in wintertime because when it's cold out, you get a little more.
Especially in theater where you freeze to death.
Exactly.
Now, I know that you started a brand new diet program and are helping an immense amount of people. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Look, health is very important to me. It's always been important to me. So about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, it was a wake-up call for me because I was always very healthy, very fit, in the gym an hour and a half a day. And we had our first child, my wife and I, my wife is a former ballerina. Ironically, she was in Phantom years ago.
I saw. She was on the Town now, wasn't she?
Well, she was. She was in the first revival of On the Town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's teaching now, and she's a mom, and she has her own business, but she's not really dancing professionally. She's teaching.
No, I love Dana.
Dance. Yeah, of course. And so, so what happened is that I woke up one day, and I'm 6'4", and I'm not a big boned guy. I'm a small boned guy.
Right.
Like I'm a lean. And I was 200, almost 230 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And when my first child was born, it was all about how do I sustain, responsibility levels shot through the roof. I have to provide for my child.
Right.
And I just neglected myself. And I thought I was being selfless because I was saying, I've got to provide. But I woke up one day and I said, what if I don't wake up? And it was a hard pill to swallow. I was heavy, I was eating horrible foods. And I thought, what if I don't wake up? What if I have a stroke? What if I have diabetes? Who's going to take care of my kids? And it was like getting hit with a sack of rocks. And so I called a friend of mine who's a former Navy Special Forces guy named Tim Sales. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do at this point. I was stuck. And I knew how to do it because I had done it before, but I'd never been that heavy.
Right.
And he had developed a program which was all organic, and it was specifically tailored initially for men 40 to 80 years old. And within 6 weeks, I lost almost 36 pounds, completely healthy, not starving myself.
Yeah, I so totally have to go on this.
It's incredible, and I've sustained it, and it's available for men and women. It's through a company called RX, which is ARIIX, and I have a team of people. I've taken 5 groups of men through it. The women's program is launching now. You'll go on it.
Oh, I would totally go on it.
Yeah, but it's completely organic, completely healthy. And again, you're not starving yourself. We're eating 1,300 calories a day, and people are having amazing, amazing results. And I've sustained it.
Yeah, no, you look amazing.
Yes.
I knew you back within.
I'm a chubby dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, most people don't know this, or maybe they do, but you did an album called There Might Be Giants.
Bring Me Giants.
Bring
yeah.
Me Giants.
Yeah.
But it does something special. Tell the audience.
What do you mean?
Didn't you donate?
Oh, yeah. So, Bring Me Giants was co-created. There's a woman named Roberta Newsom. She's an amazing woman, and she was an educator. And then started a company which basically brought educational scenarios with artistic things. So, remember the movie Kramer versus Kramer?
I do.
Okay, so she developed a curriculum to teach the social lessons within the movie Kramer versus Kramer and brought it to the schools.
Oh, cool.
So she started developing curriculums to teach children about what the art is. And she has a not-for-profit. And we started talking, and she said, listen, she's a friend. She goes, why don't you do a CD and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm going to do it. She goes, well, what about doing something that's educational bent? So Bring Me Giants are not all of, but literary characters whose stories have been set to music in musicals. And so I paired with a not-for-profit. I created the CD. That CD and her Weiner Newsom Foundation, it's a not-for-profit, created a curriculum and video interviews with Frank Wildhorn, with Liza Lerner, who's Alan J. Lerner's daughter, Mitch Lee, who passed away, who wrote,
Oh, right.
Impossible
Hey,
Dream.
Hey, Look Me Over.
Yeah. All kinds of people that are involved in these, in the songs they've written or produced, the singers. And BringMeGiants.org is a place where teachers can go, and the CD and the curriculum go free to any school around the country, around the world, to help teach students about Charles Dickens, about Cyrano de Bergerac, about, Man of La Mancha, Cervantes.
Right.
And so a portion of what we make for the sales of that go back to the not-for-profit, and it's about teaching. And we subsequently have written a live show based on all of these characters that we then go and do as a concert version.
Ah, that one I didn't know.